Well, welcome to the podcast. And yes, as we said, we're going all over the world. And this is a first for me. I've gone to the Netherlands. That's right. I haven't been there myself. My daughter has. But when you go there, I've found someone who's a complete expert. So now I'm going to read this so I don't get it wrong. She's an international positive psychology expert. But basically what she does is she trains and helps middle management and management to actually be better at their job, to reduce the amount of burnout, and all the people around them actually get positive vibes from their bosses, and everyone is really happy. And you know what? When people are happy in their job, they normally perform so much better. Welcome to the show, Lies Wouters. How are you?
Thank you very much. I'm very good. I'm very excited to be in your podcast.
That's awesome. Now, tell people who are tuning into the podcast from different parts of the world, where are you?
I'm in the north of the Netherlands, so very close to the coast.
Yes.
And to a very, very small town called Oudersluis, which only has 700 people. So
Wow.
Very small.
Jeez. And did you grow up there, or where did you actually go to school with your family?
I grew up in Belgium, actually, and I lived in the UK, in Spain, and now since the past 16 years, I've been living in the Netherlands with my husband, who's actually originally from the Netherlands.
So we'll get to that. So did you study after school, or is this just something that was passionate about?
Well, when I left school, at first I went into a sales business. I was a sales accountant, international account manager. And after my journey as an international account manager, I became a commercial leader myself.
Yeah.
I had a team, actually 2 teams in total of 12 people. And at a certain moment, I realized that was not something I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I quit my job and I went back to university and started studying psychology. Wow. And I say this very quickly now, but of course, there was some time that went over it before I made that decision. But now I'm an organizational psychologist.
What was the tipping point that made you decide that sales wasn't for you, even though you are in sales, really? But do you wanted to go back and study again and learn something totally different?
Well, there were several moments. I was leading 2 teams, and I really loved working with people, both in sales and in my own team, and mentoring them and coaching them. And there was a moment where I thought about what would be my next step as a commercial leader. And I realized that the further up you go in an organization, the less contact you really have with people, with many people. And I realized that was not the direction I wanted to go. So I started thinking of all the things that I had done at that point. What did I really like about it? And my answer was people, contact with people, understanding human behavior and connecting to people. So that's really what made me decide. I first took a small course in psychology just to see if this was really the direction that I wanted to go. And I immediately knew that really that was, for me, really my passion. And I haven't had any doubt since that this was really what was good for me and what I really love doing.
Because sales is also about people. I mean, if you can't relate and help someone in sales, you're going to fail miserably. I mean, you're going to be a robot that asks, "Would you like fries with that?" I mean, you'd be just be a process person.
That's really the link between the two. That also in sales, the main thing in my job was to build relationships with people.
Yeah.
So,
and is that where you met your husband?
Well, actually, no. I very traditionally, I met my husband in the bar.
That's very Australian.
He was in a rugby team, and they were traveling to Belgium.
I like the
for
guy
a weekend.
in a bar and playing rugby. So far, he sounds awesome.
He is, yeah. Yeah.
So was it the muscles that attracted you to him, or was it just he just bought you a drink?
Well, there were several things. His modesty was one of the things.
I've got you now, because while people won't be able to, they're listening to this, we're just watching Lies look away and starting to go red. So,
yeah.
So what was your biggest challenge when you started to study?
Well, when I started psychology at the university, it had been many years since I had studied. So the first challenge was to start studying again, really keep your concentration for such a long time. But immediately I thought I was so fascinated, because all the things that I learned about human behavior, I could already place them because I had already experience as a leader and working with coaching people, mentoring people. So many things that I learned about, I thought, this is why that happened, or this is why this person responded in this way. So I could immediately sort of link the stories to the theory. So yeah, I think the only thing that I found really challenging in this whole course was the statistical part, the numbers.
Yes.
Still not a big fan of those, but yeah.
No. Look, you and I were talking before, and with your book and some of the things you've read and spoken about with burnout in business these days with managers and leaders, we've noticed that now we're about probably out of COVID as much as we're ever going to be. This will be the new norm. People have lost the ability for empathy, especially managers. They've lost that human contact, and they've come back, and I'm hearing it time and time again where employees and people are being treated just like a number, and that's contributing to burnout. Or someone said it is a byproduct of what burnout is, because managers are hiding behind this and morale's dropping in a lot of big companies. When you sit there and you look at some of these places, do you think that a lot of people have forgotten the art of looking after people? Because that's what a good manager should do.
Yeah, I don't believe that they've forgotten the art of doing it. I believe I'll share a story with you of a leader that I was working with several years ago, which actually was sort of a part of how I came to the theory that's in my book. I was practicing with a leader on having a conversation with a team member, and he was trying to think of a way of this person did something that they didn't like, and he was trying to practice this conversation, and he was just really showing his frustration. He was not being empathic at all. And at a certain point I asked him, he said, "Why is it so hard?" And I said, "Well, what do you want to achieve? Do you want to get rid of your frustration, or do you want to change the behavior of the person?" And he said very honestly, "I actually want to get rid of my frustration." So, and that's really what the theory also says. When we haven't taken care of ourselves yet, then we're not capable of empathizing with somebody else. Our brain, our biology, our neurology proves that when we're stressed, when we are dealing with things ourselves, there's a part of our brain which is there to connect to other people, which is just not, but that we're just not connecting to. And we need to take care of ourselves first. When we take care of ourselves, we produce this hormone called oxytocin, which enables us to feel empathy towards others. And it's really amazing when you practice this. Also for me, I practice this a lot when there's something that frustrates me or that stresses me out. When I take a moment first to take care of myself and support myself, all of a sudden I think, hey, what was actually going on with the other person? This gate opens up where I suddenly really see the other person. So the empathy comes automatically once we've supported ourselves enough.
You speak about with your business, OMG, that every business is different and unique. Every person is different and unique. When you sit in a boardroom of leaders or managers, what signs do you look for to see who's suffering from burnout?
Well, I don't generally look for signs of burnout, because also psychology tells us when you start looking for something, you will always find it.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
So, so I think my image would already be colored if I'm looking to find something. So I really try to first get a complete picture of what is going on and what is happening for them. And then I ask them, once I get a picture of what is going on, I ask them, okay, what do you now want to, what is your goal? Where do you want to work towards? What do you want to achieve? That you asked me to be here. And then what do you need in order to get there? So we simply look together, what is your goal? And now, do you already know how to get there? What type of help do you need? And and then see, in some cases, it turns out that that there are some people with burnout, or that people are close to a burnout.
Yes.
It's not always possible if people are very close to being burned out. It's not always possible to prevent it anymore. And then in some cases, I think they need to experience this before they can recover from it.
There would be in every organization, and I've seen it in mine, that there are people who would say what you do is bar humbug. It's, because that's just who they are. They don't believe in psychology. They don't believe in a lot of the things that really actually are true. And I've seen myself. When you're sitting in front of someone who has put the wall up, and yourself, it's coming through by looking at them, they need help. But they've built this wall for one reason or another, through lack of trust. They've been burnt. How is someone who is an expert in your field bring that wall down just a little so you can just poke your finger through and say, I've got you. Now I can help you?
Well, all that I do in my work, whether I have a coaching session, whether I have a training session, whether I have just a conversation with the director to see what they want in the company, all I always do is build an environment of safety. Make people feel that they are in a safe space, that I'm on their team. No matter what their goal is, I'm on their team, and I'm there to help them achieve what they want. I'm not there to help them achieve what I want or what somebody else wants in the company. So, and this is really also what science shows, that when somebody actually feels psychologically safe, they will open up and share. And in some cases, people come in, they feel immediately safe. And in some cases, you need a couple of conversations in order for them to feel, okay, I do actually feel safe now with you. And I think the most important thing is that in order for you to feel safe, is that you know that you are at this moment good enough as you are. You don't need to be somebody else.
He said,
Yeah.
he'll take the business back. Woods.
Yeah, and it's interesting, when you fall into the water, this connection is cut off to your social care system. So you often think disconnected from other people.
Yes.
So it could very well be a sign of him being in the water.
Yeah, I think you might be right there. I think he's also holding on to maybe a past, and that's it. It's not there anymore. People say I want to go back to how it was. Well, I'm sorry, you can't.
Yeah, because because we know it, and then we feel more safe, and then exactly.
What do you say to people who have been working from home consistently for the last couple of years, and now the bosses have turned around and said, well, we need to get you back in the office, and they have this thing of, I don't want to go back because I've built this wall around me at home, I'm safe. But it's been proven that even a hybrid version of some in the office, some at home, but all back working together at some type is actually now starting to improve productivity. I don't mean the old 9 to 5, 6 days a week in the office, but some people are just, I don't want to do it, and they're leaving.
Yeah. And I understand that because we don't realize the impact that it's had on us. The first time we interact with people again, and we've sort of, we disconnected.
Yeah.
And what I would tell everybody in the whole world at this moment, because so much is going on in the world, is that the most important thing right now is to support yourself, to take moments to just sit, think, feel how you're feeling, and offer yourself the support that you need. Realize that it's okay that you suffer. It's okay that you find it uncomfortable to go back to the office. It's okay to feel uncomfortable having a lot of people around you again. And it's okay to feel this. You're not alone. There's so many people who are experiencing the same feeling, and be kind to yourself.
So what inspired you to write the book?
Well, over the years, as I've worked with leaders in both in training and coaching, I've really seen so many leaders who want to be great leaders, who have great intentions, and who have not learned how important it is to support themselves. Many leaders, they start leading because also they care about other people.
Yes.
And they tend to forget themselves.
True.
And when you forget yourself, when you don't support yourself enough, you're not able to feel that empathy anymore at a certain point. So Yeah, I'm thinking, honestly, I love having these conversations with people. So I could sit with everybody in this restaurant and I would find it inspiring.
Yep.
Because it doesn't matter what you do in your life. Everybody has their own story and their own way of supporting themselves and of work. Yeah, so I don't know if I would pick someone, even my children.
Australia.
Yeah. Yeah, as I said, I have some customers in Australia, so I'm used to the time difference. But yeah, it was really nice talking to you.
Fantastic. And as we say at the end of every one of our podcasts, have a groovy day.